Why is that jumpy? I should not be so jumpy. Why is this running so slow? Hello, Joe. Well, I don't know why my computer is running so absolutely slowly. I'm not dropping frames or anything, but is something taking up the resources? I closed Firefox. Oh, this is still open. I got closed chat and everything. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, Firefox was eating up all the resources for some reason. Closing it and reopening it seems to have done it. Although, why the hell is Firefox consuming 35% of my CPU just sitting here? Anti-malware, that's not even supposed to be running. I have Defender turned off. Huh. I'll have to look into that later because I have Defender turned off. Why is 3D Builder running in the background? Why does Firefox have so many processes? Huh. I got 3 Firefox windows open. Why do I have a dozen processes here? So weird. .3DR CNC. Is that supposed to be a mix of 3D, RC, and CNC? How would you do that? Hope you guys got in on that deal I posted. Everyone had their silk filament. I got the gold purple for 16 bucks a roll. I only had enough to get one roll, but I got one roll. Hello, Sam from Sweden. Nice. I like all my victims to be happy. Finally got my eyes fixed. Oh my god, what a relief. The optometrist said that the eyes are fine. My basically my immune system was overreacting. You know, something got in my eye or allergen or something, and my body went crazy fighting it. Just went overboard fighting it. And he gave me this steroid gel cream that I rub into my eye on the eyelids twice a day, morning and evening, and the effect was almost immediate. It started feeling better almost instantly. And the redness is gone now. Well, almost gone. So yeah, I need to get myself a little more of that stuff. I need to convince him to give me a refill so I can keep a bottle of that stuff in the cabinet at all times. So if this happens again, I can hit it right away. NAK3D and LDO sent it to me. So this is a beta kit for something they're working on. So we're going to take a look at it. We're not going to install it this week. Maybe next week we'll do that. I'm going to get out a NOS Ender 3. I think I still have one or two Ender 3 that are still in the box. So we're going to break out one of those next week, build it, and install this onto it. Yeah. From what I understand, it's really pretty. It's a X-axis lightweight linear rail replacement. So it replaces the entire X-axis extruder, everything. So that's pretty cool. Last night and tonight, I actually woke up without my eyes being glued shut with crusties. I was like, made me very, very happy because that was getting really aggravating. Then battery in the car died. I have AAA, which gives me one free battery replacement per year, but none of the AAA affiliates anywhere near me, including in Albuquerque, are equipped to do battery replacement. So I have to wait until I have enough money to buy my own battery, and then I can submit a reimbursement form to AAA to get the money back for the battery. But that's annoying that I have to do that because I have to wait until I have it, because it's $250 for a battery, so I gotta wait until I have enough money to buy the battery. Even though I'm gonna get the money back, I still have to have the money up front to go get it. So hopefully next week I'll be able to take care of that. And, I mean, I guess the battery in the car is 3 years old, plus however old it was when I got it, because I got it used. So it's probably a 6 or 7 year old battery. But it doesn't quite hold enough charge to turn it off and then restart it. So bad battery. Gotta jump it. What a pain in the ass. I am rude. Nice. That's all right. Whenever you can, man. When you got things to do, you got things to do. I decided to print some of those flowers in yellow, and then I'm gonna put either a white or a pink spadix in the middle. I gotta tell you, this machine's a PETG monster. Just it eats PETG like it's nothing. It just doesn't care. All these are PETG, so I am very, very pleased with that. I brought out some more colors. to make more flowers in different colors. I want to do some of the Filamentum, that Genesis purple, some Zyro pink. Although those are PLAs. Now, why did you do that? Like, why did you reopen, and why did you shrink? I don't like it when my computer disobeys. Asking to be bitten. And I wonder why no one's done a PETG co-extrusion. Because that'd be pretty cool. Huh. In fact, let's see if I can find that Eryone listing. All right, can you ping people on Facebook? Like, can you tag them? That. That'd be cool to have some PETG co-extrusions. Hi, baby. Where you at? Hi, you little weirdo. Oh, there you are. How you doing, baby? Yeah. Let's see if I can pick him up. He doesn't usually let me. Hey, baby. How you doing? Come here. Come here, baby. Ah. He knows I'm going to pick him up. He don't want to pick up. See you later, Sam. He don't like being picked up. Cats are doing good. I know it's really weird, but I always pay attention when Ender pees, and then I smile when I hear a good pee come out of him, because I know when he pees well, he's not having a UTI. Early on, he almost died from a UTI. It almost killed him. Cost me like $700 at the vet, and but since I've had about half wet food, half dry food, I haven't had. Oh God. I haven't had a problem. So I always pay attention when he uses the litter box, because as long as I hear a good solid stream come out of him, then I know he's well hydrated and he's able to pass properly. You'll know you're running into a problem when he's not peeing enough. Like, he's only peeing a little bit, and when he does pee, instead of being it's a like barely anything's coming out, then you know that means you're starting to get into that territory of dangerous, and you gotta up the fluid intake. But so far he's been good, because he's my baby. They absolutely love that perch on the front door so much. If you have the space in your house for it, because obviously, the arrangement of your door needs to be compatible with it. But if you have a large glass front door like I do, um, that little perch that you put right on the door allows them to sit there at the door and look out the window. They love it. Absolutely loves that. Yeah, I did. I finally got one of my thermometers working. I confirmed that new fridge I got. Yes, they have unlimited water, and I also got cat fountains, um, which they like a lot better. Cats prefer running water. Their instincts have developed to understand that running water is typically safer than stagnant water. So if you want to make your cats drink more, get a cat fountain. Just make sure if you have hard water that you don't use hard water in them. It'll kill them really fast. Not the cats. It'll kill the water fountain. But yeah, this one's been running for almost 3 years now. No problems. It runs well. And the other good thing is it holds like oh god, it holds like 2 liters of water. So I only have to fill it like once a week. So that's good. I have it on a battery backup, so if the power goes out, it'll run that for hours until the power turns back on again. Because it does not reset when the power turns back on. It's got digital on-off button, capacitive button. So if the power goes off, obviously it turns off. And then when the power comes back on, it doesn't turn back on. It turns back on in a ready state, and you have to hit the button to actually make it start pumping again. Bad design. It should be programmed to default it to on. So I have it on a small UPS, which is enough to run it for hours and hours and hours. It's just a little 5-volt USB pump. This way the power outage just keeps running. I think our power is out for like 6 hours the other day, and it ran it the whole time. The battery's starting to get a little weakened at UPS, so when it does finally fail, I'll replace it with a lithium iron phosphate battery. I have drop-in replacement lithium iron phosphate batteries, and they're not as high in amp capacity as the lead acid batteries, but for that particular application, I don't need amp capacity. I just need capacity. So that'll be a good way of extending the life of UPSs when their batteries finally give up the ghost. For the bigger ones, I'm going to have to daisy chain batteries, because for the bigger ones, I need the 700 to 900 watt capacity, and 1 or 2 of these batteries are not going to put out 700 watts, so I will need to daisy chain them. I should be able to get 800 watts though if I use 4 of them, because I think they'll put out 200 watts each. I'll have to check that. But they love chittering over the birds and the squirrels when they run by, or the neighborhood cats when they come by. So they absolutely love that perch. I'm working on oh my god, I can't stop yawning. I don't know why. I'm working on redoing what's its name? Bugman. Bugman makes some really cool things, and one of the cool things he made was a reef that you could print out individual parts for, and then you put them together, 10 pieces, and you make a reef. Well, I've increased the scale by over 200% so that I could print a 630 millimeter reef. I think it's 630 millimeters. I think. I actually didn't check that, but as big as I could print it on the Magician X2 here. I've also heavily modified the print, so I've made it taller to and I've almost got it. I'm almost there, because I want to print it with no infill. I want to print it with no infill inside. This is just the bottom 4 millimeters, because I want to be able to use transparent filaments. And transparent filaments just aren't going to look as nice with infill. This will also let me run lights on the inside to make them light up. And I've almost got it. That's awesome. I'm glad people enjoyed that. I've almost got it to where I don't need any infill. You can see I still have a little bit of an issue right there. And that's even using 2 perimeters with a 0.6 millimeter nozzle and 0.08 layer height. If I had a 0.8 millimeter nozzle, it would probably be fine. Or if I used 3 perimeters, it'd probably be fine. but I'm trying to keep it as close to 100 grams each as possible, so that the big giant wreath will only be 1 kilogram. I added a little bit of bottom layer, infill for structural integrity. Well, it's really hard to print no infill for something that has a curved top. The curved top is the problem. That's why you see I've stretched it out a whole lot. I've also I also modified his keys so that they no longer require support or infill. So it just requires perimeters. And the idea is these are actually different, so they won't exactly match, but you'll get the idea. You see this one didn't work. The top failed, and you can see I've changed the shape quite a bit. So this one's a lot pointier, a lot narrower. But yeah, the idea is they go together like that, and you put 10 of them together, and you end up with a gigantic wreath. I like that. I like making wreaths. There you go. So that they'll go together like that. Now he has the ninth piece, the 10th piece he has is a double female with a joiner. I can't figure out why he did that. 10 of these will all fit together just fine. There's no reason to have that, unless on a smaller scale it's not flexible enough, and he can't quite bend them to get them to line up right or something. But I don't see why he has that 10th piece. You should be able to just take the same exact piece and print it 10 times, and it should work fine. So, but that's what I'm doing now, is I'm trying to make this work. I could print this right now, no problem. It just one thing I might do is try to shorten it more. Try to take away more of this, make it shorter, which will reduce the mass. But I'm trying to keep that nice rounded candy cane top, and I'm close. You can see I'm really, really close to it being successful. You can see, I mean, that technically works, but I'd like to clean that up a little bit if I can. But because I don't have the original files for this, I'm just modifying an existing STL. It's a little more difficult. I don't know. What I need to do is get rid of this little dome right here. I need to make that little tiny bit right there a little pointier. If I made that a little bit steeper, then I'd have no problem. I'd be able to make it. What I need to do is be able to take this part here and stretch it out without making this part taller. So, actually, that might work. It's going to make it look weird, though, if I do it wrong. I could chop it off right here and then just extend this part a little bit. But what I'm probably going to do is... but I don't know if I would have the knowledge or skill to edit the original file. Probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this out a little bit more. Another 10 or 15% would probably be enough. And then start seeing how much of this I can chop off. I have a template for my the keys. So I've been trying to avoid cutting off past this point here. This point here, I've been trying to avoid intruding into that. But I suspect I can crop this further without making it look weird. So I may try that. I mean, I already know how I can make it work. Just use a larger nozzle. If I went with like a 1mm nozzle and a 0.1mm layer height, this would probably print just fine. The problem is now it's going to be like 170 grams. Now you're going to need 2 kilograms to print a big reef. Because, 170 times 10 is 1.7 kilograms. I'm trying to keep it as close to 1 kilogram as I can. I'd like to get it down to 100 grams each. If I can get it, I'm at 114 right now. Although I didn't actually check that. So I noticed that the prediction for mass in the slicer is not accurate. Like, it's usually off by like 20%. 98 grams. Okay, so I'm already at 100 grams. So the slicer is totally off. It's telling me it's like 114, 117. I'm already down to 100 grams, and I want to try to keep it there. So if I stretch it out a little taller, chop a little bit more off the bottom, I think I can fix this. My printer can't go below 0.08. I tried 0.04. It just doesn't work well. That's normal for a rise up bed slinger. If this was an Ender 5, it could probably handle 0.04. I also don't know how well PETG behaves at 0.04. There might be some shearing going on there. But 0.08 appears, this is all 0.08, so that's stable. If I can go down to 0.04, that would fix it, but the printer can't do that. And if I go with a bigger nozzle, which would also fix the problem, that would also fix the problem, but now to go over 100 grams. And one of my hard cap is 100 grams. I'm trying to keep it down to 1 kilogram. I could also make the pins smaller, theoretically. They don't need to be as big as they are, but that gets a little more complicated since I don't have the original files. I do still want to try to grow my own vegetables. Okay, in order for me to, I have two problems with growing my own vegetables. One, dirt is expensive. That's okay. No, we like off topic as long as we stay away from politics. As long as we stay away from politics, off topic is fine. Especially because there's going to be a lot of 3D printing involved. One of the first problems I have is dirt is expensive. And I don't really have much dirt on my property. It's not very arable land. Now, I am about to mow down all the tall crap out there, so I'm hoping maybe I can compost it, especially since we've been a little wetter this year than normal. We've been getting a lot more rain than we normally get, and one of the things you need to compost is moisture, which we don't have. So maybe that'll work. Let me turn this off. It's cool enough in here now. From that AliExpress thing, I got the V Pro 8 humidity temperature sensor, Toyo sensor with IR repeater, and it is compatible with my mini split unit. So I can't do much, just temperature, fan speed, and heat or cold, but that's all I need. I can now turn the mini split on or off with that remote, and it's now a smart device. I can now turn it on and off from my phone, which is freaking amazing. So I could leave the AC off all day, and then 20 minutes before we get home, I could turn on my phone and go boop, turn on the air, and this way, after we walk in the door, it'll be nice and cool in here without me having to run the AC all day. So the first thing is getting access to dirt, which is expensive. I still want to garden no matter what, so I'm probably going to get at least 2 raised planters going, just because, regardless of the cost, just because I want to. I want to plant my own stuff. But doing it, a whole lot of it, is going to be more difficult, because by the time you add the cost of the dirt, the seeds, and the materials, and the fertilizer, you've exceeded the cost of just buying those vegetables from the grocery store. For me, it's not about self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency is for able-bodied wealthy people, not for, less able-bodied poor people. Because it costs money to be self-sufficient, especially in my environment. If we were like in Georgia or something like that, or Mississippi or Louisiana, where it's hot, humid, and you got raging, awesome fertilized soil all around you, that'd be different. But around here, yeah, it's a lot of sand and rock. Like, I actually have bedrock sticking out of the ground. So the soil is not that great for growing stuff. Maybe it'll work. Maybe I'll try it anyway. Maybe it'll just work. So I do want to try to do that, but I do have several issues. One, we have gophers and voles, so I have to use raised gardens or they will destroy anything you plant, literally. Like, they will destroy anything you plant. And second, I need to set up sunshades. And the problem is I need to set them up in such a way that they can handle the wind. So that means I have a hole digger, I have an auger, although I have not tried it in this very hard soil yet. Um, um, but I'm going to need to get some concrete. I'm going to need to set some posts in the ground, several feet. I love tomatoes, though. I want tomatoes so bad. And what I'm probably going to do is do it right alongside the carport here, so that so two of the hard points can be the carport. So I only have to put 2 posts or 3 posts in the ground out on the other end, because I have to put up sunshades in order to grow plants here. I'm at 6,800 feet in the middle of southwest United States, in New Mexico. So not only am I in the southwest, at 6,800 feet, the sun burns everything. Any plants that aren't sun hardy, the sun will burn them to the ground. You might as well just take a flamethrower to them. The sun will just kill anything you plant. Inside, I was thinking about, except for the fact that I'd have to hang the plants from the ceiling. Otherwise, the cats will tear them apart. The cats like ripping apart plants. I learned that the hard way. So I would have to, and the problem with hanging them from the ceiling is now they're not getting the sunlight. I really wish, on one hand, I wish my roof had skylights, but on the other hand, I'm glad it doesn't, because that means I have a more secure roof. But skylights would be awesome, because then I can hang plants under the skylights. But yes, I do plan to, I would like to do at least tomatoes, lettuce, and cucumbers. Also, maybe some squash and zucchini. I understand squash and zucchini are very easy to grow, and they're very prolific, so you get a lot from them. My health coach just sent me a recipe for, here, I'll show you. I'm like super excited about trying to make this because it looks delicious. She sent me a recipe for this, what's it called? Briam. Traditional Greek roasted vegetables. Basically potatoes, zucchini, onions, and tomatoes. So I'm actually really looking forward to making this. I don't have the money to buy the ingredients now, but next week I will. So next week we're going to make this, and I even got a pot for it right there. I figured out where my round pot was. Yeah, because I want to do it fancy like this. But all these ingredients sound absolutely delicious to me. Potatoes, zucchini, red onions, garlic, a little bit of pesto with some Evo. Hey, Ben! So I am like super excited about making this because this sounds absolutely delicious. And affordable while being a good balance of dollar per calorie. So one thing that people forget, when you have enough money, it doesn't matter. When you don't have enough money, you look at food in a different way. If you're smart, you do. If you budget, you do. And you don't look at food on a how much does the food cost basis. You look at food on a how many calories per dollar am I going to get from this food. That's one of the reasons poor people tend to buy grains, pastas, breads, and stuff like that, even though they're the worst thing for you, because they are the highest density of calories per dollar. I'm not big on jalapenos. I like them okay, but my sister does not like them. But we did find a vegetable we do like, poblanos. Very mild and delicious. So yeah, this actually says you could add green peppers to it. Maybe I'll add poblanos to it. That might work. And they're reasonably affordable. But yeah, this sounds and looks absolutely delicious. It's like, I want to try this bad. So we tend to buy things like potatoes and pasta and stuff like that because, well, here's the way I tell people to look at this. Oh, did you see the little mushroom plant tags that someone posted on Twitter? They look beautiful. I'm going to download and print them if they're available because they look beautiful. Basically a 3D printed mushroom with a replaceable tag on top with the name of the whatever you plant, so you can replace the tag. Really cool. So, for example, one of my favorite vegetables is broccoli. I love broccoli. It is one of my all-time favorite things. Broccoli, cauliflower, green beans. Oh my god, I can spinach. I can eat that stuff all day. But poor people can't afford broccoli, and it's a very good reason. So I'll show you. Hang on. So here we go. Was that really $1.74? No, $1.16. Okay. So they've raised the price on broccoli by over 20%. This was 94 cents a bag. Well, anyway, here's the important thing here. So there are 4 cups of broccoli in this bag. That's 30 calories. So this entire bag is 120 calories. This whole bag is $120 or 120 calories for the whole bag. So you're looking at about $1 per 100 calories. Now, to put that in perspective, I don't know why Walmart's been so slow lately. Why is it being so slow? I do have a couple of small greenhouses. So when we start getting to the cooler weather in the fall, I'm going to set them up. I hope. Which should extend my growing season, both at the beginning and the end. Okay. Here we go. Now, this here is a box of macaroni and cheese. And this costs 50 cents. Now, by the time you add the butter and the milk, you're probably looking at about 85 cents. This is 410 calories prepared. Not yet, but I plan to. I've got seeds. I've got the raised gardens. I've got tools. What I really need is I need soil. I need soil and I need sunshades. So about 3 servings. So this is 85 cents for 1,200 calories, or I could pay $1.16 for 120 calories. What people don't realize, I don't mean this in a negative way, so hear me out. Vegetables are not food. All right? Pasta is food. Bread is food. Meat is food. Potatoes are food. Vegetables are not food. Vegetables are nutrition. All right, so eating vegetables is closer to you eating a vitamin than it is to you eating food, because the nutritional value is very high. You're going to get, whatever nutrition is available, the roughage, the fiber, the good carbohydrates, a bit of protein, the calcium, the iron, the potassium. You're getting nutrition, but you're not getting food. It's 30 calories. There's nothing there. If you tried to live off broccoli, you would starve to death because it's not food. Vegetables in general are not food. They're nutrition. And so when people are poor, they tend to buy food, not nutrition, which creates a catch-22, because if you don't buy enough nutrition, you're eventually going to get sick. Because even though it's not food, you need it. You need the nutrition. And balancing that when you have a very small budget is difficult. You know, I can save money by buying cheap food that gives me lots of calories. I mean, that box of mac and cheese will give Michelle and I 600 calories each for 85 cents. Well, call it 90 cents with the electricity to cook it. So for 90 cents, I get 600 calories each. Or for $1.16, we get 60 calories each. Oh, nice. I have not used food banks because I technically don't need to, and I do not want to take food away from someone else who actually needs the food at the food bank. While I could use the food at the food bank, I don't actually need it, and to me, it would be immoral for me to, unless there is an excess. If there's an excess, great. Like if it's going to be thrown away, okay, fine. But right now there's a shortage. And so if I take anything from the food bank, I'm taking food out of somebody else's mouth who could really need it. However, I did find out they do have a program where a company or some kind of system, some kind of program brings bags of produce and people can pick it up, and they usually have leftover. So I could take advantage of that without taking food out of somebody's mouth. So I'm going to do that. That's the only problem is it's on Wednesday. So it's the day I stream at 2 o'clock. So that's why we are actually going to cut this one early today, about 1 o'clock. Because I want to actually go over and see if this Wednesday is the day or if it's next Wednesday. Nobody seems to know which Wednesday it is. Also, it's annoying. They actually have a program that would get you $360 every quarter for buying produce. And by the time I found out about the program, it was already filled. It was over with. It's like they start these programs and then don't tell anybody about them. Even my nutritionist, by the time she found out about it, it was too late. Now, see, that's another. First of all, no, it doesn't. You're wrong. That's a bias that you think you see when you don't, because you're listening to propaganda. And second, it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told other people. Oh, people say they're suffering, but they have $1,000 phones. Yes, it is. I know that, but I technically don't need it. So, I'm well below the poverty line. Oh my God. The only reason I'm surviving is because I prepared so much in advance. Like, I'm actually worried at this point, I'm worried about running out of toilet paper. I haven't bought toilet paper in 4 years. It's been 4 years since I bought a roll of toilet paper. Because back in Pennsylvania, before all this crap went down, I would buy my toilet paper cases of 96 rolls, and it'd be like 35, 40 bucks. Well, now those cases are $65. I could buy Scott tissue for the same price. So I'm actually at this point, I'm down to like 2 months worth of toilet paper left, and I'm actually worried about how I'm going to afford to buy toilet paper because, how do you survive on so little? Because I have so much. I don't have to buy stuff. I don't have to buy dish soap. I have several years worth of dish soap. I don't have to buy laundry detergent. I've got a 10-year supply of laundry detergent. I got a 2-year supply of food in my food pantry. I prepared, but now I'm starting to run out of certain things, and I don't have the means to replace it. So I better get that bidet installed. But I hear people say dumb shit like, well, I see people walking around with $1,000 phones, cars, and air conditioning in their homes. And I just want to bitch slap people when they say dumb shit like that, because it shows their ignorance. This phone cost me $800. Do you know what this phone would have cost your parents to buy? It would have cost your parents $91. This phone is equivalent to $91 in 1968. The phone plan to use this phone, I pay $12 a month for this phone. 12 or $12 or $14, and I'm actually thinking about dropping it down to the $10 plan and just dealing with not having as much data when I'm mobile. But I paid $12 or $13 a month for this phone. That's equivalent to your parents paying $1.15 a month for phone service. If your parents could have gotten a smartphone for $91 and cell phone service for $1.15 a month, do you think they would have gotten it? Yes, I think they would have. Do you know what a window air conditioner costs? What was that? Nothing. Okay. A window air conditioner. People say, well, I didn't have air conditioning growing up. Because it didn't fucking exist when you were growing up. And what did exist was preposterously expensive. Do you know what a GE air conditioning unit in 1968 cost? $3,057. Yeah, a GE air conditioner was $347, which translates to $3,057 today. No shit, your parents didn't buy an air conditioner. Do you know what an air conditioner costs today? $17. $17. If your parents could have bought an air conditioner for $17, you think they would have bought it? Yeah, I think they would have bought it. They would have put one in every room. You know what it costs a month to run the air conditioner? No, it hasn't. The first home AC units was invented in 1932, and it wasn't commercially available until the 1940s. By the time the 1960s came around, it was common for all new homes to have central air built in. Existing homes didn't have it, but any new build, new construction had AC typically, more often than not, by the 1960s. But of course, there were millions of homes that already existed then. Well, if you had a roof-mounted water cooler, that means you lived in a dry place and you shouldn't have had mosquitoes. Because typically mosquitoes need moisture, so the only time we get mosquitoes here is when it's really, really wet. And it's only for a day or two before they die, because they can't handle the dry heat. But it's one of the things I love about here. No mosquitoes. No mosquitoes, no gnats. Oh, it's wonderful. I can go outside and not be eaten alive. I don't use swamp coolers for 3 reasons. One, they're typically roof belted, and that is a danger to my roof. You have a water supply on your roof. No, thank you. I took it down and had the roof closed up. The number 2 reason is that, well, water is expensive. But that's not the number 2 reason. Number 2 reason is that we have hard water. Food is not too expensive now. Do you know what your parents paid for ground beef in 1960? They paid $10 a pound. Or, I'm sorry, $9.50 a pound. Do you know what they paid for milk? They paid $10 a gallon for milk. You know what they paid for coffee? $10 a pound for coffee. That's what your parents paid for food. The only thing that hasn't changed in price is, it's really odd. Bread and eggs are about the same price for the last 60 years. So food is not more expensive. Food has even the price gouging going on right now. Like, this used to be 40 cents a box, now it's 50 cents a box. So they raised the price of this 25%. Justify that for me. You can't. It's price gouging. Even these latest crazy food prices going on right now are not expensive. Go adjust the price of food for inflation back to 1960 and see what it cost back then. You're going to realize, wait a minute, the food's not more expensive. But you know what has changed? You're being paid less. You're being paid a lot less. So as you try to budget more and more and more because your pay keeps going down every goddamn years, that's not comparing apples to oranges, Ben. That's reality. The problem is you're not comparing the apples to the oranges. By trying to say food is more expensive, you're comparing apples to oranges. Because you're not adjusting the buying power of your money over time, which you have to do. I tell people, if you don't get a 6% increase in the value of your paycheck every year, you're getting a pay cut. Seriously? They should close that place down. That should be illegal. You're gonna charge a membership fee? You're gonna elitify a food bank? Oh my god. I'm hoping that's not somebody being stupid. I'm hoping that's somebody being ignorant. I'm hoping that somebody. See, one of the problems is there's not enough food in the food banks. And so they're trying to control the number of people going. But the problem is charging a membership fee will control the number of people going by eliminating the poor people who need it. It's the opposite of what you need. No, they're not. They're really not. They need the slaves to work the system. We haven't reached Soylent Green stage yet. Maybe in our lifetime, probably not. Not in your lifetime, probably not in my lifetime. But if you're under 30, maybe in your lifetime. But we haven't reached that stage yet. That's a ignorant response. Charging a membership fee. I think they're trying to do something good, and they don't realize that what they're doing is counterproductive. They think they're gonna have more food available for more people who need it, but what they're actually doing is, maybe they don't realize this because our education system has resulted in a lot of dumb people. They don't realize that all they're doing is removing the people who actually need it. And the problem we have, okay, if you look at with the exception of the trifecta, housing, education, and healthcare, and even housing is not actually part of that. Nothing is more expensive today than it was 60 years ago. In fact, almost everything today is cheaper. A car is on average $2,200 cheaper than it was 60 years ago. A house, when you account for the size of the house, meaning dollar per square foot, a house is not more expensive by that much than it was 60 years ago. Now, anywhere around a major city that people want to be in, San Francisco, Houston, Austin, Denver, stuff like that, Philadelphia, New York, yes, of course, you're gonna see that hyper-inflated prices, the crazy, housing market that we have right now, the real estate market. But outside of those crazy areas, houses are priced about in line with where they should be. Cars are cheaper today, and they're superior in every possible way to cars you bought 60 years ago. The types of accidents that I've seen, and the people walked away without a scratch, just makes your mind go. Huh. Well, they have venture capital money. They're trying to do something. Food is cheaper than it was 60 years ago. Everything we buy today is cheaper than it was 60 years ago. A window AC unit is $17. You can go to Walmart right now and buy a window AC unit, 5,000 BTUs, for $150. 3 years ago, that was $97. But $150. If you adjust that for inflation back to 1968, that's $17. So you're looking at a $3,000 air conditioner and a $17 air conditioner. That's why everybody has air conditioning today. Phones cost nothing. I mean, this is a Sony high-end, Carl Zeiss lens, what is that? I forget what they call that. This is one of Sony's high-end phones. This is the Mark II. I keep forgetting. Oh, Sony Xperia Mark III. The Sony Xperia 5 Mark III. Mark II. I'm sorry, Mark II. This phone was like $1,100 when it came out. Okay, I didn't pay for it. I got it for free. All right, this phone was like $1,100. Why isn't this charging? Why is it charging so slow? So slow. You can buy an equivalent phone to this today if you buy a used one off Marketplace. We're talking a 2 or 3 year old flagship phone for like 100 to 150 bucks. Considering that the phone is our primary means of communication, that costs next to nothing. A calculator cost more in 1968. So they're dirt cheap. And the service is dirt cheap. Okay? It's 10 bucks a month, 15 bucks a month. even an old Lexus or Mercedes, they're not that expensive. You know, I mean, people look at a brand name instead of looking at what it costs. Now, keep in mind, right now, used car prices are hyperinflated. You know that. Used car prices are crazy right now. What did you buy on Temu? I tried to buy something on Temu. I failed. No, a calculator cost more in 1968. The price to buy a calculator in the 60s is higher than the price to buy a high-end flagship phone today. A calculator was like $200. That's like $2,000 today. You could buy one of these for 800 bucks. Look here we go. Here's a 1990 Lexus for $3,000. Here's a 2008 for 9,200 bucks. Here's a luxury Lexus, a nice one of the crossovers, 12 grand for a 2009. Let's see. Let's look something here. Here's a 2007 for $10,900. Here's a 2007 for $6,200. 2007 for $6,900. Most of you are not going to be able to tell the difference between a 2007 Lexus and a 2017 Lexus. Now, once you go pre-2000, then it becomes very obvious it's an older car. Here's a 2008 for $10,500. Here's a 2021 for $37,000. These are not expensive cars. Yeah, and it's a decent phone. The Samsung A20 is not a bad phone. In fact, somebody glancing at your phone would think, oh yeah, that asshole got food stamps and he's using a $1,000 phone. No, you paid 50 bucks for that phone 3 years ago, but they don't know that. They just see a big slab of glass and assume that you're wasting money with a $1,000 phone. All right? People are ignorant of reality. Oh, they go to Starbucks. No, they don't. Poor people don't go to Starbucks. They can't afford it. Oh my God, the ignorance is just mind-blowing. Here's a 2009 for 4,300 bucks. Here's a 2008 for 12. Well, this one's busted. That's probably a scam listing. Here's a 2008 for 12,800. It's not expensive to buy a Lexus. Seeing a Lexus doesn't mean anything. And keep in mind, my prices are going to be higher than where you are. I'm in the Southwest where there's no rust and there's fewer people, so the market prices are higher. Yeah, well, if you buy a graphing calculator, yes. But that's largely because Texas Instruments has a stranglehold, a monopoly on the market. They have a de facto monopoly because the teacher is going to demand that you buy one particular kind of calculator. So they're able to control the price of that market. If that wasn't the case, if calculators were universal and you could bring any calculator to class, they'd be 20 bucks. I have been completely unsuccessful in buying anything from Temu. I tried to buy 10 bucks worth of stuff the other day from Temu, and it wouldn't let me. I tried to use a credit card, failed, didn't work, and then it took away the credit card option. I tried to use PayPal, failed, didn't work, and then it took away the PayPal option. I tried to use Google Pay, failed, and then it took away the Google Pay option. It just wouldn't work. I don't know if it was just a bad day or what. I know Temu's legit. I know people buy from them, but it was weird that for the life of me, I couldn't buy anything from them. Here's a 2018 for 28. Okay, a Mercedes. Oh wait, I didn't do. I thought I did that already. Here we go. A 2010 for 3,000 bucks. Here's a 2006 for $6,000. Here's a 2014 for $14,000. A 2010 for $8,000. 2006 for $5,300.
Here's a 2000. That's an expensive one. Oh yeah, that's a fucking the G. That's crazy, that one there. Here's a convertible, $7,000, 19.8 for 2040. These cars are not expensive. They're not expensive. So just because you see a place with Lexus and Mercedes in the parking lot doesn't. In fact, those are probably smart people. They're buying high quality cars that have a higher probability of lasting longer. Okay, so they're getting more bang for their buck over time. Now, sure, you buy one of these cars brand new, you're paying 50 grand, 60 grand, 70 grand. But when you buy a 10-year-old car, no one's going to know it's a 10-year-old car looking at it. Now, sure, you look at this, that's obviously an ancient car. But now, look at this. Does that look like an ancient car? No. That looks like a perfectly normal, it's a Mercedes. Right? It's 19.8. Where's another one? Here's this 2012. Looks perfectly nice. That's a decent looking car right there. Why is that off the screen? Is it? No, it's not. Okay. Now here's a 2012 Mercedes C300. A luxury car. It's 10 grand. They're not expensive. Relative to cars, if you can afford a car, $7,000 to $10,000 is not that much money. Because anything less than about $5,000 or $6,000, and if you can't afford that, you can't afford that either. Because anything less than that's going to require repairs of some sort. Right? At that point, you're buying Dodge and Chrysler and stuff like that. Just stay away from Chrysler; they're garbage. But 10 grand is not that big of a price for a car. You're talking about a $200 a month payment, even with horrible interest. I mean, if you're that poor that you can't afford that kind of a car, well, then you don't have a car. Now, maybe if you live in the South and you buy yourself an old beat-up pickup truck or something like that, but then good luck feeding it gas if you can't afford that. So we're talking about people who can afford a car. And for people who can afford a car, this is not an outrageous price. This is not rich people going to food banks. There's a reason somebody says a parking lot full of Lexus or Mercedes. Their implication, which they're making, and they're a liar if they say they're not implying this, the implication they're making is that wealthy people are going to food banks. And that's just not the case. There's not many wealthy people in this country. 65% of the country is under the poverty line. 65%. Between 60 and 65% of the country is under the poverty line. If you make less than $40,000 a year, you're under the poverty line. It's that simple. Now, there are cheat codes you can use to make that work. So, for example, $40,000 a year for me would be incredible. I'd be on top of the world at $40,000 a year. But I have cheat codes. I already have 4 cars I own outright. I have a house I own outright. Those are massive cheat codes. You said it's a truck. Is it a pickup truck? Is it a pickup truck, Ben? And is the fuel tank underneath the bed? So the first thing you do is you barter. You Ford Explorer Sport Track. Okay, so you got to find out where the fuel tank is. The Sport Track is that half and half, right? Where it's like it's a 4-door, but it's also a small pickup truck. If I remember right, that's what the Sport Track is. That might actually be slightly harder than a regular pickup truck. Yeah, it's the half and half, okay? So, here's a Sport Track. So what you have to find out is the fuel tank here under the bed, or is the fuel tank here under the body? Some Ford fuel tanks can be a pain in the ass to get to. It was fun getting to the fuel tank on my 92 Ford club wagon. That was fun. It was also huge. But if the fuel tank, well, you might not have to drop the tank. All right? if it's sheet metal above the tank, you might be able to use a hole saw and put a hole saw through the floor right above where the fuel tank is. And then you just take out the back seat, you put your hole there, and you can access the top of the tank. You'll have to check to see if that's possible. I don't know if it's possible with your vehicle or not. But with our pickup truck, that's what we did. We put a hole right in the bed of the pickup truck because it has a bed liner, so who cares, right? We put a hole right through the bed, and we just took the fuel pump right out through the top. Didn't even have to crawl under the truck. So you'll have to find out exactly where yours is, not just where the tank is, but where the actual, the big flange with the fuel pump in it. Yeah, the fuel pump's on top of the tank, which is why you're going to drill a hole from the top. So if this is your back seat, for example, if this is your back seat, then your fuel tank, it might be right here. Okay, so let's say this sticker is your fuel tank, and maybe this circle right here is where the opening is. All right, so what we had to do on our truck is we quite literally cut a hole right in the bed of the pickup truck. And then we just dug this hole out, and then we could access the top of the fuel tank right there from above in the bed. I don't know if you can do that with yours. You'll have to look around, find diagrams. You have to find out exactly where the fuel tank is and exactly where the actual thing that you have to get to the fuel pump is. But it might be possible for you to remove your back seat and put a hole exactly where you need it. If you have an endoscope, that's something that's like $5 on like AliExpress and Temu, so it's something that many people might have now. But if you have an endoscope, you could just drill a small hole and stick your endoscope in there and look around and find the fuel tank, find out where the hole is, drill another hole until you find out exactly where the fuel pump is, and then you do a hole saw or a jigsaw and you cut out a hole, create your own little hatch, and then you can just reach in there and do your fuel tank from the top. So your problem is I have to have a goddamn pen here somewhere. Come on. I tried to print a TPU rocket, but the TPU is too wet. So it worked, but it's got holes all over it. Like you can see, it's riddled. But that's because the TPU is wet. I have to dry it. And of course, I found my dryer, but no power supply. Because I'm a slob and I have no idea where it's at. Because I am not organized. This is mind-blowing. Thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And I have no freaking pen. Oh, there's a Sharpie. Hey, Mike. So, with our pickup truck, so hood, cab, and bed. Our tank was right here. And so we put a hole in the bed of the truck right there, and we were able to access the Nice. Yeah, living in an RV is rough. It's very compact. Unless you have slide outs. Now yours is going to be more like this. And apparently, so front seats, back seat. So your fuel tank is somewhere here. So if we zoom in on that, and this is your back seat area of your truck, you need to figure out where your fuel tank is. Okay, so you got to figure out where your fuel tank is, and then figure out where the actual thing is on your fuel tank. It's gonna be about this big. Yeah, RVs are tight. Even for just two people, RVs are tight. I mean, if you live a possessionless lifestyle, it's not so bad. It's even though it's still tight. But yeah, if you own anything at all, it gets tight fast. I don't know how people do that. You find out where it is. If you have an endoscope, you could probably get you can get one on you can get an endoscope for $6. It's actually $2, but you have to spend $6. Let's see if one's available. Because I believe to use these, you have to buy a minimum of 3 items. So you go to the $1.99 section, and then you look for an endoscope. They have a couple of them in here. Nope, that's a charger. There you go. So you have an endoscope. You can get one on this $1.99 page, but I think you have to buy a minimum of 3 items. So if anybody else needs one, that's a good way of getting one. And they usually come with they're usually micro USB with a USB-C adapter, so it'll work on any phone. You install the app, and then you have an endoscope. What you do is when you find out where the tank is, you punch a little tiny hole, where you think the tank is, and you stick the endoscope through, and you look around. Okay, you look around. Where is this thing on the fuel tank? Hang on, let me show you. So you got a Ford Exploder Fort Track. Here you go. That's a 2002 6-10 Ford Explorer. Let's see. Select Ford models. Select Ford models. Select Ford models. Here we go. This might not be the exact same thing. Hey, David. So your tank's going to look something like this. And what you need to find is this opening here. You need to find that thing right there. So once you find this underneath your car somewhere, so based on this, I'm going to guess your fuel tank is running width-wise, which means your tank is probably like this underneath your back seat. And so it's either going to be under the driver's side or the passenger side. And what you do is you just drill a hole, pick one side, drill a hole, and send the endoscope in. If you will first make sure you can see the tank, and then make sure you can see this thing right here. Okay, so that thing right there. Make sure you can see that. Once you find that, then you drill a larger or cut a larger hole above that. You cut yourself a hatch. You can even cut a 3-sided hatch and then cut part of the 4th side so you can bend it back like a door. And then you can put it back when you're done. You don't even have to weld it. It's going to be small enough that you don't even have to worry about welding it. Cutting it off entirely is probably better. You're less likely to cut yourself on it. But once you have access to the top of the fuel tank, now you don't have to drop a goddamn thing. you make sure you're going to have to get that tool. You could probably find somebody who can loan you one. You're going to need that tool to remove the fuel lines. Hopefully, with a 2007, you're pushing real close to rust age. Hopefully, it's not too rusty there. But you're going to have to take this off, and then the whole entire fuel pump will be an assembly attached to the bottom of that cap. And that whole cap is going to have a big ring. You're going to have to sit there with a screwdriver and a hammer and go pop, 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 and move to the next one, pop, 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 until you get that ring to turn off and release the entire fuel pump assembly. Hit it with a whole bunch of PP blaster, come back the next morning, if it's rusty. And then the new one will come with all that. And then you go buy your new fuel pump and drop it in there. Yeah, I bet you can. That's a good idea, too. Videos. That's fuel filter. Here you go. Ford Sport Track fuel pump replacement. And hey, yours might not even be that difficult to get to from underneath. What you're going to need is some ramps, obviously, to get it high enough. And you're going to need someone younger who can help you. If you're older and it's too hard to get underneath the car, do a little bartering. Trade something for it. I don't know if this is the correct one for your car, but it's a good start. He wants to be fed. Come out and feed him. But there's the top of your fuel tank. This is the ring that has to be undone. 2 electrical connections. Well, 1 fuel connection, 1 electrical connection. And then this entire thing will come out of the tank, and there will be a fuel pump on the bottom of it. So you'll assemble the new fuel pump onto the cap, and then you'll reinstall the fuel pump, and that's it. You're good to go. It's not that easy, but you know, it's not also not crazy hard either. And if you can get to it from the top, you don't have to drop the tank. You might not be able to get to it from the top. If the sheet metal has a whole bunch of shaping, you might not be able to get to that, and it might be unsafe to cut that metal. If it's flat, then it's pretty safe to cut it. But you'll have to make that judgment call. But it might not be that hard to get to that tank. Also, have you considered? Well, yeah, then you have to barter for it. You got to find a young shade tree mechanic who's willing to help you out and do a barter. You know, trade something of value. You know, hope you find somebody willing to trade something of value to do the fuel pump for you. But if you have everything you need, it'll be easier to find somebody because you're ready to go, you know. But yeah, I have a tough time getting underneath the cars too. It's rough. It's a little rough. But have you considered trading? Have you considered basically trading your truck for a car? You know, your non-running needs a fuel pump truck for a running, less valuable car. Trucks are still holding very high value right now, so you might actually be able to make that trade. You might be able to make the trade of, you know, hey, I got this sport track. You know, it needs a fuel pump. I need a running car, you know, a cheap running car, and try to make a trade. Maybe you'll get lucky. Depends on where you live. Hey, John. And what you need is transportation. I mean, it depends on where you live. Do you need a truck? Like, do you actually need a truck? You might be able to get by with a car. And try to go with something simple, like, well, newer is better, but, something with a manual transmission, something with, like a Dodge Neon or something like that, you know, where parts are cheap and they're easy to replace and stuff like that. I don't know. But, Dodge Neon's a little old. Yeah, so if you don't need a truck, you might be able to leverage the excess value of your truck to get into a car that runs. That's a possibility. Yeah, wait a minute, don't you live in Washington or Oregon or something like that? Like you live in one of those northern remote states where trucks actually have a higher value than cars do. So you might be in a better position to make that kind of trade. Oh, Texas. Trucks are pretty plentiful in Texas, but everybody wants a truck. But still, that's good. That means you have a higher probability of. Well, that means your car is going to be a little bit less rusty, because Texas is a relatively dry state, depending on where in Texas you are. Amarillo was beautiful. We drove through Amarillo, Texas. That's high plateau like New Mexico is. Oh, that's up in the panhandle. I have a chance to go to the World FAI Championships this summer, and I don't know if I can do it. It's in Austin, Texas, and I don't know if I could risk the gamble of driving to Austin, Texas. If my car breaks down more than 200 miles from home, I'm in deep shit. You know, lose the car kind of deep shit. So if you guys don't know, oh, interesting. Yeah, the FAI Championships it's July 1st to the 8th in Austin, Texas, or outside Austin, Texas. But I want to go so bad. I don't know if I can risk driving the car that far. I'm so poor that if the car breaks down and I can't fix it with a cheap purchase from auto parts store, I might have to abandon the car and, you know, take a bus home. I mean, I would lose the car and everything in it that I couldn't carry with me. So that concerns me a lot. And rental cars right now are crazy expensive. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But anyway, this is a project that is being produced by LDO, designed by NAK3D Design. If you know NAK, he's the guy who made the White Knight belt printer before Creality did. He made that really nice belt printer. Well, he's working with LDO. They're producing the parts for him. And so in cooperation between NAK3D and LDO Motors, we have an Ender 3 upgrade kit. So it comes with the orbiter extruder. There we go. So it comes with the orbiter extruder. Unless you already have one, of course, then you don't need the extruder. But I'm kind of excited about this because it's so compact. I mean, that's a really small setup right there. Now, how does that work? Like, okay, filament has to go in there. And I guess it comes out here. So how do you put a hot end on this? But man, that is just so compact. Really cool. It looks like direct drive, because that's a stepper motor. So this is a direct drive extruder. So that is really freaking cool. Orbiter hardware kit. So what does this have? Lock nuts. Oop, there's a piece of Bowden tube I just dropped. I'm guessing this is the mount to actually mount it to the printer. And then here's the goodie. The anodized aluminum parts. Oh, I'm so excited about this. That's pretty. I believe that is the carriage plate. So that is where your hot end would attach. Your screw would attach here. Your belts would attach there. So this is your X carriage plate. This looks like the idler end. Tensioner maybe? Hardware kit. More pieces in beautiful anodized aluminum. Surprisingly heavy for aluminum, actually. It is. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, nothing in there. What is this? Ah, this is the linear rail. Boy, that is sealed. I never saw bubble wrap that was sealed. This is shrink wrap bubble wrap, a vacuum sealed bubble wrap. I've never seen that before. That's kind of cool. So that's actually sealed in there, and it's bubble wrap too. LDO makes good quality stuff. Here is the big piece. No progress on the leaf yet. Okay. Look at that. That in our... That is pretty. I don't think it's any lighter. This feels about the same weight as the aluminum rails under now. Yes, this is the entire X-axis replacement. Oh, it goes this way because there is your stepper motor goes there. Oh man, that is pretty. I love custom machine anodized aluminum parts. They're just so beautiful. So I'm going to go dig out one of my NOS Ender 3s, and we're going to build this next week. Which is exciting! On AliExpress, you can get a Y-axis aluminum replacement. Might be interesting to get both, and see what kind of upgrades can we do to an Ender 3. Absolutely beautiful. Believe it or not, I mean, even though function is always more important than beauty, beauty is also important. I believe that's going to be the tensioner. Your pulley's going to be in here, and that's where your tensioner knob's going to be. But looks are important too. Well, they've all been about 3D printing, Ben. We just tend to get off track a lot. Oh, this is for the CR30. So this here is if you want to put the orbiter on the CR30. Right now it's just in beta testing, but it's by NAK3D Design in cooperation with LDO Motors. So if you hit up Twitter and NAK3D, you'll see different posts and videos about it there. It's not available for sale yet. Like, I know they just made an update to the rail here. That is gorgeous. That's just some gorgeous parts. You just want to pet it. I'm really excited about this. This extruder unit here. It is pretty. They make nice stuff. But this is really interesting to me. So my question is, where's the hot end? Do you just use the stock hot end? So there's your dual gear unit inside here. Oop. Yeah, there's your dual drive unit. So it comes in through here, comes out through here. Let me get some light on this. Where is my phone? Here it is. Right in front of my face. There's the limited access, the restriction in the bottom there. You can just see that looks like a piton tube from an airplane right inside there. There we go. And that is what will restrict your filament path. Hopefully be TPU compatible. So my question is, what do you put down here? Do you put just the... That looks like it'll accept a PTFE tube. So do you use the stock hot end? Like, does this mount? How does this mount? I mean,
Hi all.
so how does this mount here?
I don't know.
Obviously you don't know, Michelle.
What is it, a camera?
No.
Hi everybody.
Michelle, they can't reply back to you with voice. They just type back.
Just saying hi.
I imagine it has to.
What is that?
Bed said hi.
Then what is that?
Part for a 3D printer.
Oh.
Huh. He does have a build video, which I have to watch still. I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to mount.
Oh, you're viewing it.
That looks like the hard points the hot end would mount to. The two screws go through the hot end and mount there, which means this has to go here somehow. But this has to get close enough. It would have to be this way, because that's the only way that's going to get close enough for the to meet up at the hot end. I don't know. I don't know if he made the video public or not. Well, this is going to mount on a linear rail. On the slide on the linear rail. Is this video public? Okay, this is an unlisted video, so that means it's not a public video, so I can't share this video. Okay. I can show you a picture of it, but I don't want to play a video that he doesn't intend to be public. Okay. So I'll have to watch this. I'm just trying to figure, I don't see any mounting holes. I was trying to figure out where it would even attach. Oh, it's got to be here. It's got to be, the only two holes on the machine are here. Oh, definitely. We're going to do this next week. I'm going to pull out one of my NOS Ender 3s, and we're going to build one next week with this. So one of these brackets has to be what attaches. It's not that one, too small. Not that one. I'm not sure. But it has to be those two mounting holes there. They're the only two mounting holes on the whole thing. So it has to be those two. You can't mount this to the linear rail. The only thing you could do is mount it to the slide. But you can't mount it to the rail. The instructions are on a video. This is a beta kit. This is not for public release yet. So neither of those holes line up with the rail slide. But that's not what that's for anyway. My guess is one of these pieces here is going to mount the rail slide. Yeah, see those 2 holes line up. Those 4 holes line up. Yep. So this is going to mount to your linear rail because those 4 holes line up with the slide that has 4 holes. So this is going to mount like that or like that. But whatever way, that's going to mount. And then I'm not sure. Yeah, that's this piece. That's this bit here. That's for the CR30. But I am super excited about trying this because this is beautiful. Red anodizing just looks so pretty. Red and blue are 2 of the best colors for anodizing. Well, obviously it doesn't mount directly. It must mount unless... Oh, it's 3 holes. Okay. Oh. It lines up with those 3 holes. What the hell? These are the 3 holes that mounts to, because it lines up perfectly with those 3 holes. So, like that. It can only be either this or this. Probably this. Maybe that. Not that way. Let's see if we get a picture in here somewhere. Yeah, I was right. This is the tension, strain relief. Okay, it mounts to the bottom. So that means this is going to be like this, which means this is going to be like this, which means this is going to be like this. So it looks like maybe it's going to be something like that. But that seems upside down. This should be the bottom. Oh, wait a minute. It goes on top. Like that. What? Well, tensioner goes there. And the motor is here. So this has to line up with that somehow. So it must go like this. Nope. Like this? Yeah, like that. That goes there. Ah. So that is going to go like that. Would put the linear rail here like this. See, this is too low. That's well below the motor. I must have it backwards. Oh, there's the picture. I need it right there. Come on. That is the picture right there. Okay, so
looks wrong. Maybe it's not. So that goes there, which means this has to go here because the linear rail is on top of this part here. So this has to go here like this. Forces this to go here like this. Nope. That doesn't work. Like that. No, that can't work. It looks like this is sitting like this. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There it is. Okay. That goes like that. Linear rail goes here. So linear rail will go here like this. This will go here like this on top of the linear rail. And this goes like this on top of the bracket, and that lines it up with the belt. There you go. So that's how that's going to go. Like that. And now the attachment points for the belts line up with the motor. Okay. So that's how that's going to go, like that. So, you know, of course, this will be on top of this, like that. Okay. That makes sense now. Interesting. That's really pretty. That is such a pretty part. So it's not going to be any lighter, although it'll be light for a direct drive. But it will be a lot smoother, that's for sure. Now, how's he doing the hot end? I want to see if I'm right that it's just a piece of PTFE in there. Yeah, just use the stock hot end. Oh, he's doing his in a Bowden setup, Bowden configuration. Or did he just not get to that point yet? Looks like he's doing a Bowden configuration. Aw, I was hoping direct drive. But yeah, it's going to be Bowden. It's going to use the stock position. But no, that's using the stock feeder. He sent me the orbiter, though. Huh. Very interesting. I'm hoping there's a way to mount this as a direct drive. Well, in his video, he has just this being installed, and he's using the stock Ender 3 feeder and Bowden setup. But since I have this, there should be a way for me to mount this. That might be a video he just hasn't gotten to yet. This is going to be a fun build. And it's beautiful. I like it when you have function and beauty all on the same part.
To me, that's the best possible combo. Yeah, might be 2 different mods. Or he just hasn't finished the instructions yet for the other part. Boy, machined parts are just beautiful. Wonder what those are for. Oh, for those holes. To allow those holes to exist. I wonder what those 2 holes are for. Oh, I'm an idiot. Those are the mounting holes to mount onto here. But I was right. That is where the stock hot end will go. So your stock end or 3 hot end will bolt right to that, just like the original one. So that is the mount. So what are these holes for? Those holes line up with that, but that can't mount there. That wouldn't do any good. I mean, the only way this can mount is like this. So how would that mount? Unless... Yeah, but there's no attachment point. Unless this bolts directly to the top of the hot end. But that's too wide. The hot end heatsink is not that wide. I don't know. I hope I can use it though, because this is incredibly compact. I mean, that is really small. .8 inch 30mm pancake stepper. 1.8 degree. Okay. 1.8 degree pancake stepper. Yeah, but none of those holes look usable. So you got those 2 holes. That's where your hot end mounts. So imagine this is the hot end. So there's your hot end. The only place this can go is like this. But there's no holes. So it would have to attach with a bracket. But this can't be it because this says CR30. So I don't think this is it. Unless you need to use this as well. I do not know. I'm betting you it involves that though. Oh, you mean like that? Yeah, that would allow you to do that, but then you'd run the risk of this hitting your verticals depending on how far it goes. Yeah, obviously with a bracket.
But why would you have them so far apart though? I'd rather just do it this way so I can have it directly above the hot end. Because you're creating a, well, you know, the bolts are there, the hot end would be about here. So that is a pretty big gap that you shouldn't need to have. I'm pretty sure these are all for the tensioner. That's tensioner, and these are all the bolts you're going to need. All the rest of the hardware will be reused from the Ender 3. So all the V wheels, the backing plate will all come off your existing Ender 3, and you'd attach all that to this. True. Absolutely gorgeous. What the hell is this? Oh. There was a box that said start typing. Start typing what? To give you guys a close up. There we go. There's the it's very pretty. I'm wondering if this is going to come into play. This kit here. Give you guys a close up of in here. That's the, it says CR30 Orbiter hardware kit. Motor extension? Or is it a pinout change? Bolts. Hey, that looks like it wraps around the pancake motor. And that's a pretty heavy duty bracket. That's got a hole in it. Does that hole line up? Yes, it does. So that hole lines up with the output and these two bolts here. I wonder, do any of those holes line up here? No, they don't. But these do. Oh yeah, these do. Ah, okay. So those two holes there line up with those two holes there. So this might bolt onto here like this. Then you'd have your two bolts go through here. That would do that. And then this would mount like that. So just like that. Stock hot end. The orbiter mounts here. Little piece of little piece of PTFE tube in between. Now, what is this?
This might be specific to the CR30. Wait a minute. Nope. Yeah, none of these holes line up with this. Because if this goes here, if this wraps around here, yeah, nothing lines up. So this is probably specific to the CR30 maybe. It looks like this goes around here like this, but it doesn't line up with anything on here. So I'm betting it's as simple as that. This bolts onto here, which now creates a mounting platform for this to bolt onto here like that. So that makes sense to me. But I'm going to keep these in their separate boxes just in case. So you're right, it does flip it around to go out the back. So this will sit off behind like that. Okay. What are the rest of these holes for? So this mounts to the rail. This mounts the orbiter. This mounts the hot end. What are these three holes? That's the orbiter. What are these two holes for? Doesn't look like he's using them. Oh, this is for the shroud. The fan shroud around the hot end of the Ender 3. That's the fan shroud. Okay, so all holes are accounted for. Hot end, metal cage around the hot end, orbiter mount, rail mount. So all holes are accounted for. So let me show you. Looking for a close-up of the hot end to show you. You can see the same mounting holes on this one. See? Same mounting holes right there. That's for the metal cage that surrounds the hot end. So you don't fully see it here, but it's for this hole and this hole here, these two tabs. Of course, it's off the screen. Here it is. So these two tabs, how that cage mounts to the it's like every single freaking picture they cover it up. Like, what the hell? It's like they go out of their way to cover it up. There, you see it here. Yeah, that mounting hole there, and this mounting hole here. There's one down there, but this metal cage here, that is going to. That's what attaches to these two holes here. So hot end, cage, rail, orbiter. This goes with this. I'm assuming all three of these pieces are part of the tensioner. And then everything else you take from your Ender 3 and bolt to this. Cool. I could probably show you the other kit from AliExpress. Firmware for the Ender 6 screen. No. If it's not available from Creality, then probably nobody has it yet unless somebody's figured out a way to dump the firmware from the machine itself. Do a search for, I don't know if it exists, but do a search for Ender 6 community firmware. See if if that's available. Because in order to put the firmware on there, they'd have to have both. I don't want the printer. Come on. I saw it on here. It's a light blue color. It replaces the whole Y-axis assembly. So this does the X-axis. I know there's also a kit available that does the Y-axis. Why is this so hard to find? I found it easily that one time, and now it's being a pain in the ass. It replaces this whole entire Y-axis carriage. What the hell does any of this have to do with the Ender 3? You're just going to show me random junk? Oh well, I'll have to find it some other time. Because that obviously has nothing to do with the damn printer. It's just showing me random junk now. Yeah, that's very random. Whatever the hell all this is. That's called best match? You have a weird idea of best match, man. And what about Ender 3 Y-axis? Y-axis kit. That's a replacement plate. Huh, it's just not here. Weird. I'll find it at some point. Boy, that is pretty. Yeah, I got a good deal on this hard drive. They had this 2 terabyte Wakanda Forever Seagate hard drive. Pretty cool when it lights up too. So I ordered this from Walmart because it was $50. This is like 4 months ago. And $50 for a 2 terabyte hard drive, especially a branded one like that, is pretty cool. So I ordered it. It never showed up. Now I got the notification, been delivered, and I looked outside, and there was nothing there. And so I sent a message saying, "Hey, it says it's been delivered, but I ain't got it." Like, do they have a picture where they left it or something like that? Because sometimes they leave stuff in weird places. And the system didn't even try to help me. It just said, "Okay, we're sending you a replacement." I was like, "Okay." Yep. I waited like 3 months where it said shipping, and it never shipped. It did eventually ship, obviously, because obviously I have 2 of them now. I finally found this one. It was in the bushes on the corner of my neighbor's property. So he didn't even drop it on my property. He dropped it at the corner where the power pole is on my neighbor's side of the fence, just sitting there in the weeds, sopping wet. Like, I brought it inside and the box was dripping water. And I was like, I don't think this is going to work. It does. The packaging inside kept it dry and it seems to be fine. I contacted them, said, "Hey, I found the original one. It's soaking wet, been sitting outside. I don't want it. It's, I'd rather have the replacement that's going to be dry." And they said, "Just keep it or get rid of it." I was like, "Okay." I put it in a bag of rice and desiccant. I just let it sit for a few days just in case, and plugged it in, and it seems to work fine. So now I have 2 Wakanda Forever 2 terabyte hard drives. Like, okay, I'm okay with that. Dumbass. Hate when they do that. I have a pull-through driveway. It's a loop. They can come in. They can go right back out again. They don't have to reverse. And sometimes they just get lazy and they toss it out of the truck. It almost seems like they toss it out of the truck into the bushes. Go away, go away. Oh, by the way, if you have a Sonic near you, it's really, really bad for you, especially if you're diabetic. But they have a new strawberry shortcake snowball slush float. It's basically a strawberry slushy gelato with some like vanilla icing mixed in. And that's what a gelato is, Michelle.
Saying it's not vanilla ice cream.
No, it's got some vanilla icing in it. And the really good part though is it's got this large crystal sugar. So it's sugar, but it's large crystals, not the fine grains, that's sprinkled on top of the ice cream. It is so good. Oh boy, it is so good. Really, really bad for you, but so good. That's just evil. It should not be that good. Okay, so hopefully, if all goes as planned, I am going to break out one of my. I did find there a couple weeks ago, so I'm pretty sure I know exactly where it's at. I found a NOS Ender 3 in a box. Hopefully it's an Ender 3 Pro. So I'm going to bust that out, and we're going to build this. Worst case scenario, I'll just take an existing Ender 3 and modify it, but I'd rather start off with a brand new one. Install this onto it and make that our upgrade Ender 3. Let's see how many upgrades we can find for it. But yeah, that'll be fun. We'll have fun with that. I want to keep working on this. I'd really like to get a remix posted of this because I want to print a giant reef. I'd like to see if he will incorporate some of my changes into his model, but I'd like for him to make me a 12-piece version. Because 10 pieces only allows 1 color and 2 color. But a 12-piece model will allow you to do 1 color, 2 color, 3 color, and 4 color. Because 10 is only divisible by 2 and 1. But 12 is evenly divisible by 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can do 4 pieces in 3 different colors. You can do 3 pieces in 4 different colors. And of course, you could do 6 and 6 for a 2x2. So I'm hoping he'll be willing to do that to modify this into a 12-piece configuration, because that'll allow more color variation. You could then do, 4 different colors, or 3 different colors, or 2 different colors, or all 1 color. So that'd be nice if he could do that. So I'm going to make one more change. I'm going to make this a little bit taller, cut some more off the bottom here. So I want to keep it under 100 grams. And then try it, see if it works. I could probably chop it right down to here. Just got to see how far I can bring these up before they start puncturing the edges. But that is so close. So close. I know if I did 3 walls, it would work. Because 5 color would be a little bit weird. That because you'd only have 2 pieces in each color. You could do that. Yeah, you're right. You could do 5 color, but you only have 2. You only have, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So I guess that works if you have a 5 color arrangement you want to use. So yeah, you could do 5 color. But a more common is the bigger deal is 3. Because 3 lets you do flag colors, team colors. There's all kinds of different color schemes you could do once you have access to 3 or 4. Not as many with 5. So 3 would allow red, white, and blue. Or, black, red, gold, like German flag or French flag. And there's a few that are 3 or 4 colors. So 12 is probably the optimal. He already has 10, which means you already have 5. So by doing a 12-piece version, you would have then you'd have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 color arrangements. You could even do with a 12. You could even do 6. You'd also have a 6 color arrangement. You do the same as you did with the 5 color on the 10-piece. You could do a 6 color on the 12-piece. And although at that size, this dimension starts to get a bit smaller. So 2 on 10 is 20%, so you'd lose 20%. That's not bad. But I like doing big, and I like using PETG. Now, what would be even better is now I know why he can't, and I agree, but if only this was flat, Because if this was flat, then you could just print it like this in vase mode. And this would work a lot better in vase mode. You could make it all one perimeter. But the problem is, it looks nice because of the curves. I'll show you. Come on. There it is. So there that is. Isn't that cool? A couple other people did similar ones. So the only problem with going to 12 would you would really be shrinking a lot of these segments. Well, they'd all shrink by 20%. Isn't that awesome? So I'm just trying to figure out a way of modifying it so that I could do it with no infill. Not only will no infill use less filament, but no infill will allow me to get a better impact from using transparent colors. Because transparents just don't look as good when there's infill. With no infill, I could put lights inside of this and stuff like that. There's all kinds of things I can do once you have no infill. That is a little harder when you do have infill. Yeah, I'll figure it out. One way or another, I'll figure it out. Yeah, that's what this is. This is a silky red and white. The only problem is the silk is PLA, which means you're not going to want to, well, you definitely don't want to do that hollow because it won't hold up to any temperature at all. I mean, even 80 degrees outside with a little bit of sunlight would be enough to warp it. So, got to be careful with that. Excuse me. There you go. Dumbass. So, you know, this modification was easy enough to make that so it doesn't require support. Did the same thing on this side. So now it's just a matter of how much can I stretch this and shorten this without it looking weird. So I'll probably have to make it 100% scale first so I don't have to print as many parts or use as much plastic. Because if I make it half the size, that should use 1/4 the plastic. So it should only be about 25 grams per piece. So I really shouldn't be printing it at 200% scale for test prints. But in order to test this, I need to print it at full scale. Because this will work fine if you print it at 100% scale. It's when you print it this big that you run into problems. Because a 1.2 millimeter wall thickness is a much bigger deal at 100% scale than 200% scale. So, yeah. Well, I guess a good simulation, if I print it at 100% scale, but only use one perimeter, basically vase mode, that would simulate a similar overhang difference to 2 perimeters at 200% scale. It won't be exactly the same, but it would be close. I could also just print this part. I could do that too. I could just print this part. That would be like 10 grams. 15 grams. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Because this obviously works just fine. I keep getting little imperfections at my process transitions, which is weird. That's not something I've ever gotten before. process transition shouldn't cause that. And I am not entirely sure why it's doing it. You don't notice it on this, but with certain colors, you're going to notice it. Now, interesting enough, the co-extrusions probably wouldn't look as good with this. I don't think they would jive very well. Co-extrusion would look better if you printed it all as one piece. Cool. Now, the other thing that would be interesting, I don't know how interesting. Unless you made an awful lot of them, I don't know how interesting this would be, but something to think about. If there's I'd like a way to bolt them together. It might be as simple as a self-tapping screw. Yeah, it might be that simple. Those two faces do sit on top of each other. So if I put a hole here, I drilled a hole through it, I could put a screw into this to hold them together. And if I used a screw, that would get interesting because then you could disassemble it. And not simply disassemble it, but then you can mix and match. So you'd be able to, you know, especially if you did if you had a 3-color configuration, for example, I could take red and white and make a candy cane one. And then I could, if it was a 12-piece, I could take out 4 of the pieces and, you know, 2 of the white, 2 of the red, and replace them with blue. And now I'd have a red, white, and blue for July 4th. You know, black and orange and purple for Halloween, or just black and orange. And you could, you know, print pieces in different colors and have a big box just full of these pieces, and then you could put together whatever colors are appropriate for whatever holiday you want to take advantage of. Then I can make a separate ring that would go behind all of this, and that ring would contain the lights. So I'd be able to move the lights from unit to unit. Oh my God, could you imagine printing one of these in Night Sky and Nightshade Elixir? Oh, that would look so amazing. That would be $100 reef at the scale. That would be $100 reef, but oh my God, it'd be so pretty. Wow. That would be nice. That would be really, really, really nice. Then get a translucent gold and silver glitter. That could be a New Year's wreath, for example. Huh. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. Hi, kitty. Is that a tired kitty? Are you tired, baby? Yeah. But yeah, that's my current project I'm working on. I kind of stopped with the flowers for a moment just because I got addicted to this. I tend to do that. I tend to jump around a lot like that. All right, I think that's about it. if all goes as planned, next week we will build an Ender 3 and install this upgrade kit onto it. I think that'll be fun. Hopefully I'll have this perfected by next week. I want to try to make it half this size, you know, cut it down to like here. You know, because if I can get it under a kilogram, even better. I think it will. I think it'll work nice too. I mean, this is beautiful. I have a thing for anodized aluminum machined parts like this. They're very pretty. And there's something to be said for a machine that looks nice. Function has to come first. It has to work well first. But there's something to be said for a nice looking machine. And I like good looking machines. So that's it. I will see you guys later. You guys have a great day. Remember to keep your victims happy. Remember your politicians are tasty. They're very, very yummy. Especially with you know, lots of barbecue sauce. That's it. You guys have a great day. Switch back to there and then hit stop.